in your company, share with us some of the KPIs that you hold dear that tells you everything that's going on in the company.
Yeah, so the I'm sure you've heard the thing, if you know you were on a remote island and you got a bottle that sailed over to you and there was a note inside, what 5 to 7 numbers would you need to know how your company is doing? So obviously we have those, right? Sales, revenue, profitability, what's in the pipeline, what's not in the pipeline. We measure clients at risk, for example. So we have a red, yellow, red, yellow, green, like a stoplight on every client. And we measure that as a percentage of green, right? So we want to see that 80% or more of our clients are in a green stop line, which means there's no issue. The client is happy. We're happy. We don't expect them to ever leave, right? Of course, there's red clients where their account may have been suspended yesterday by Amazon, and very likely they're not going to need our services if we can't get that account back up.
Oh,
For
this is the color Amazon's. It's
this
the
ours.
health. Oh, this is ours.
Well,
So what?
there's Amazon Health, which is this whole separate KPI, but we track our own clients on our internal sheets that shows us, and the client strategist responsible for that account decides who's meeting with the client every week and in touch with them regularly, decides if they're green, which we call smooth sailing, yellow is at risk, and red is like severely at risk, for example. So we track that as a KPI, and each of the client strategists are responsible for their portfolio to stay above 80% green lighted, right? And if we fall below, we want to know why. Why is you should be able to hit 80% of your accounts should be perfectly green lighted. But then we're tracking everything production. For example, graphic designer, we're tracking production, right? How many images and A+ content and output of work are you producing per week, per month, per quarter, right? We're tracking all that, ranking them against each other, and publishing those numbers to the team. We have an unlimited PTO policy, but we track and report who takes PTO, for example, right? So if you're consistently the leader of paid PTO, right? You're consistently taking off the most days, the rest of the team starts to look at you a little bit sideways because they're working while you're at the beach. And so that system is yes, it's unlimited PTO, but we're going to track and report to the team. And it self-manages when you do that. And so you actually find that very few people are taking extreme vacations or out every Monday or crazy things that you hear in other companies. So we track that. We track many, many other things. For example, the number of new campaigns that are created in an account. I always show prospects, if you have an account with advertising and your manager is not creating new campaigns and Amazon tells you the date a campaign was started, they're lazy, or there has to be either some reason why a new campaign has not started. Like, for example, you're hitting your max budget every week, or they're just lazy in managing what's there. Much easier to manage what's there than to go and find new campaigns to create and start, right? Much easier to go in and adjust bids by 5 cents every day than to pull keyword research lists and search term reports and all this stuff and figure out what's working, what's not working, and kill campaigns, start new campaigns. So we track that, for example. I certainly look at that myself all the time in our accounts. And then we track employee turnover. Same thing. The way we track client turnover, we track KPIs for employee turnover to judge their satisfaction. If we have too many employees that are turning over, something's not right. We're not hiring the right people. We're hiring perhaps out of scarcity. Perhaps we're not keeping people happy, right? There's different things that could be going on within that. So we actually track turnover, and we want very little turnover. And the operations manager, actually, that's their KPI to track that we have less turnover. Yeah, I mean, there's many more. Every team and department probably has dozens of other KPIs that relate to their specific area, right? So we do brand protection. We kick people off Amazon. So, for example, we're tracking our success rate of kicking someone off. If we make 10 complaints and 9 got kicked off, we have a 90% success rate. And so that tells you how that department's working.